He once promised to be a father figure to 3 young girls.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot to me.
But that promise ended when he threw his girlfriend out of a moving car.
An arrest after he allegedly threw his girlfriend Alyssa out of a moving car on the highway.
This is the shocking downfall of Chance Pitt, a man who turned his second shot at freedom into a disaster of violence, lies, and self-destruction. After 8 long years behind bars, Chance finally walked out of prison, promising to change his life for good. He spoke about redemption, family, and a fresh start. He had big dreams, a devoted girlfriend named Taylor, and 3 little girls who saw him as the father figure they never had. To Taylor, it looked like a picture-perfect second chance. But the man viewers met on Love After Lockup wasn't the reformed soul he claimed to be. He was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Chance's criminal history was already a red flag. His record was a chaotic trail of bad choices. Drug possession, burglary, grand theft auto, resisting arrest, and even robbing a bank inside a grocery store while high on Xanax. Shockingly, it wasn't his first robbery. He'd once held up a salon for cash, showing a pattern of impulsive and reckless behavior that had always defined his life. Addiction, anger, and poor judgment were the constants that ruled his world long before the cameras started rolling. Behind bars, he met Taylor George, an unsuspecting single mom who reached out through a mutual connection. Her ex, who happened to be Chance's cellmate. What began as casual conversations quickly turned into a full-blown romance. From love letters to long phone calls, Taylor fell hard. She believed in the fantasy of reform, in the idea that love could heal someone broken by the system. She visited him faithfully, spoke about building a family, and convinced herself that his prison time had taught him humility. But she had no idea that she was about to invite danger into her home. When Chance was finally released, Taylor greeted him with open arms and endless optimism. She had spent months preparing for his return, fixing up her house, setting boundaries with her family, and imagining the life they would build together. Living with her twin sister Bobby and her 3 young daughters, Taylor wanted stability above all else. Chance promised to be that man. He even spent his meager prison savings to buy her a promise ring, swearing that he'd never let her or her girls down. But freedom exposed the truth. Normal life was something Chance simply couldn't handle. Years in confinement had made him controlling, defensive, and quick-tempered. He demanded authority in a home that wasn't his and exploded over minor disagreements. His resentment grew toward Bobby, who saw right through his behavior and warned Taylor to be careful. As tension filled the house, Chance's charm started to crumble, revealing the jealousy and paranoia beneath. What Taylor once believed was love turned into obsession. Chance constantly accused her of hiding things, grew furious at photos of her late fiancé, and questioned every text or phone call. His paranoia poisoned their relationship, making home life unbearable for everyone. When he struggled to find steady work or take responsibility for bills, his frustration often turned into anger, sometimes directed at the people he claimed to love most. Still, Taylor refused to give up. She held on to hope that the man she fell for in prison was still inside him somewhere. When Chance proposed, it felt like a new beginning, a symbolic moment that promised healing and unity. He even gave her daughters their own rings, calling it a sign of commitment to the family. For a brief moment, it looked like a fairy tale ending. But beneath the romance was manipulation. The proposal didn't calm him or soften his edges. It gave him a false sense of ownership and control. Chance believed that because they were engaged, Taylor owed him loyalty, obedience, and silence. What was supposed to be a love story built on second chances was slowly becoming a nightmare of dominance, jealousy, and emotional control. And Taylor had no idea just how dark it was about to get. Chance's temper, jealousy, and lies only grew worse. The man who promised to protect his new family became the very threat they needed protection from. And when Taylor finally confronted him about cheating rumors, the truth came out. "I cheated on you," he admitted, without an ounce of remorse, then blamed her for it. He claimed her accusations had pushed him to do it, flipping the script to make himself the victim. It was the clearest sign yet of how deep his manipulation ran. From a man who once vowed to be a father and a partner, Chance Pitt spiraled into the same destructive cycle that had ruined his life before. Proof that not everyone deserves a second chance. Chance Pitt's story was supposed to be one of redemption, a man getting a second shot at life after spending 8 years behind bars. But what began as a promise to change soon spiraled into a nightmare of violence, lies, and destruction. When he walked out of prison, Chance claimed he was ready to be a new man, a father figure, a loyal partner, and a responsible adult. After 8 years behind bars, he promised that he was done with crime and chaos. Waiting for him was Taylor George, the woman who had stood by his side through his incarceration, believing in his potential to change. She had 3 young daughters who looked up to him and dreamed of finally having a stable family. To viewers of Love After Lockup, Chance appeared to be a man determined to make things right. Someone who wanted to rebuild his life and prove that love could truly conquer a dark past. But beneath the charm and smooth talk was a man still ruled by the same impulses that had destroyed his life before: anger, addiction, and a deep need to control everything around him. The calm, caring version of Chance that Taylor fell for existed only on the surface. Behind closed doors, his temper, paranoia, and manipulative tendencies began to resurface. Chance's criminal history told a different story from the one he tried to sell. His record stretched across years of bad decisions: drug possession, burglary, grand theft auto, and even multiple bank robberies committed while high. He once robbed a bank inside a grocery store and later held up a salon for cash. Crimes that spoke more about recklessness than desperation. Prison didn't reform him. It merely hardened him. And when he met Taylor, through her ex-boyfriend, who happened to be his cellmate, their connection started as an unlikely love story, but quickly evolved into something far more dangerous. What Taylor saw as redemption was, in truth, the beginning of another downward spiral she never saw coming. Taylor believed in him completely. She prepared her home, included her twin sister Bobby in her plans, and introduced Chance to her daughters, Sophia, Jacqueline, and Athena. Chance promised to be a father figure, even giving Taylor a small promise ring from his prison wages. But behind the sweet gestures was a man who couldn't handle the pressures of real life. As soon as he moved in, the cracks began to show. Chance clashed with Bobby, became jealous, possessive, and paranoid. What Taylor mistook for devotion was control. He started monitoring her, questioning her past, and exploding over the smallest things. Then came the grand proposal. A romantic scene involving Taylor's daughters and a shiny ring. It looked perfect for TV, but it was just another performance. The same controlling behavior soon returned, louder, angrier, and more toxic. When Taylor finally caught him cheating, Chance didn't apologize. Instead, he blamed her, claiming her suspicions drove him to do it. It was classic manipulation, turning his victim into the villain. That moment marked the beginning of the end. Taylor packed his belongings into garbage bags and threw them out, but Chance refused to accept it. He became aggressive, threatening, and unhinged. Not long after, he moved on to a new woman named Alyssa, his next victim. What followed was a horrifying chain of crimes that proved Chance hadn't changed at all. In December 2023, his life spun out of control. First came a DWI arrest. Then, just 10 days later, he caused a major crash after running a stop sign, leaving the injured driver behind and fleeing the scene. Instead of taking responsibility, he stole a woman's car from a hospital parking lot, used her credit card for shopping, and then had the audacity to go to the police claiming his truck had been stolen. He was arrested again, released on bond, and somehow still managed to find trouble. By August 2024, Chance was back in handcuffs, this time for something far worse. During a fight with Alyssa, he allegedly threw her out of a moving car. A man who once promised to protect women and children had become their greatest danger. His long list of charges, felony domestic battery, theft, DWI, and fraud, guaranteed he'd likely spend years back behind bars. But the real damage went beyond court documents. Taylor was left to rebuild her life and protect her daughters from the chaos he'd brought into their home. She faced financial and legal struggles in the aftermath, while Alyssa suffered physical and emotional trauma from his violence. Chance Pitt's story wasn't about redemption, it was about denial. Each second chance he got turned into another opportunity for destruction. And for everyone who believed in him, the result was always the same: heartbreak, fear, and pain. What began as a promise to change ended as proof that some people never truly escape who they are. Chance's relationship with Taylor and her children seemed hopeful at first, but reality TV cameras can't capture everything. And what they did show was deeply disturbing. His explosive reactions to small issues, controlling attitude toward Taylor, and refusal to take responsibility revealed a man who hadn't learned a thing from 8 years behind bars. What was meant to be a redemption story turned into a slow-motion collapse. Each episode exposed new red flags, new toxic patterns, and growing concern for those around him. Despite having love, support, and a platform that could have changed his life, Chance kept repeating the same destructive behavior that defined his past. In the end, he got exactly what he deserved. And it wasn't the second chance he claimed to want. His quick return from reformed ex-con to repeat offender facing multiple felonies proved how fast someone can ruin their freedom. The domestic violence charge against Alyssa marked the lowest point in his spiral. A man who once vowed to protect women had become their biggest threat. Chance's story shows that real change isn't about promises. It's about accountability, emotional growth, and choosing to do better. Things he never managed to do. The tragedy is that innocent people paid the price. Taylor's children faced chaos, a truck driver was injured, and Alyssa became a victim of his violence. Now, as Chance likely faces years back in prison, his downfall stands as a warning. Not everyone who says they've changed actually has. Second chances mean nothing if you're not willing to do the work to deserve them.